In your coding journey, one of the most satisfying moments is when you finished your first complete project without any help. I'm going to tell you about my first project that I completed with Java Swing while utilizing MVC architecture. My name is Chaturodanga, so let's continue. For this project, I chose to develop a library management system with many functionalities while strictly adhering to the MVC or Model View Controller architecture. Also, this project consists with 17 interfaces. This system, in this system, we can identify few different entities such as patron, librarian, admin, and book. Librarians or admins are the users of the system. Librarians have different privilege levels to improve the overall security of the system. Only the librarian with admin privileges can log in as admins. Now let's run our program and see what functionalities it offers. After the login screen, it redirected to the librarian login. In here, you can also go on to the admin login as well. First, we focus on the admin login, librarian login. So you have to enter password and username that is already in the database. Um, if we do not enter a password or username or keep the fields empty and press the login button, it will display a message saying some fields are empty. Now let's insert a wrong username and password. Please check the credentials. Now let's go on to our database and go on to the librarian and let's select a record. This one is good. Its username is Kasun and password is Kasun123. Uh, let's input this here. Kasun123 and login. As you can see, we can log into the library menu and it will display a little pop-up saying you log in as your username, and the welcome text already set into the username as well. In here, you can see 5 main submenus. Those menus included add patrons, add books, lend books, view patrons, and view books. In add patrons, we can add a patron to the system. Um, for example, let's say Sankar Sandagalon. Okay, the NIC number is 20 and V. Birthday is 2009 June 10. Address 221 Rocky Real. Telephone 112 is obviously a male, and when you insert in the patron ID, it will say if the patron ID is available or not according to database. In this case, let's enter P001. It says a patron ID already exists. You can't enter that ID because the patron ID is already on the system, right? P001 already on system. As well as P002, 4, and 5. Let's try to add P006 and see what happens. P006, the system is saying patron ID is available. So now we can add the patron to the system. We can use this clear button to clear this field to their default states. For example, by clicking this clear button, we can set them back to their default states. Now let's go back and add books. Add books is very similar to the add patron menu. In here, we can add a book to the system. Let's say book name is Famous 5 3 and edition is second edition. Author, mm, yeah, it is a mystery. 1947. We have we have 5 copies of this book. So we enter 5, and ISBN is 122222. Okay. Now the book is successful. Now it says the book is successfully added to database. Then click OK. Similar to the clear button in the add page. In here, we can use to clear this field. This clear button to clear this field as well. Now let's return and check the database and see what those values are inserted or not. Let's go on to the patrons. Here you can see P006 Sasanka Sandakalu. And let's check the book. You can see famous 5 3 with the ISBN 122222. Okay, and total available total number of copies 5. Uh, let's skip the lent books for a bit and move on to the view patrons. In view patrons, you can see all the patrons that are already on the system. Um, in here, we can search the patron by patron ID, NIC, and telephone. Uh, let's search the let's search the patron by telephone, and let's say telephone number is 10112 As you can see, the similar result is already on the top, and we can use this refresh icon to refresh the table back to its default items. To view, update, or delete a record from this table, we have to select it first. If not, it will display an error message saying please select a row. After selecting a row, you can view all details. In here, in this table, you can see all the books borrowed by this patron. And similar similar update, you can update all the details except the patron ID. Uh, let's change this address and see. Update. After clicking the update button, the system will display a message saying patron details updated successfully. Then let's go to our database and see the changes are reflected on there as well. As you can see, the database has updated into Gampa. Okay, now you can delete a record very similar to the uh, previous one, very similar to previous functions. First, you have to select a record, then click on delete. After that, the system will show you a confirmation dialog saying, "Are you sure?" You have to click yes in here, and this record will be deleted successfully, like that. Okay. Now let's move on to the view books subsection. In here, you can see all the books on the library with their ISBN, name, author, and total copies on the library and the available copies handing after patrons were there. Okay, in this menu is very similar to the view patron menu. You can search the books by few different categories such as ISBN, name, or author. Let's search by ISBN. Uh, let's say 161616. and the record is on the top of the table, and we can refresh the table by clicking this small refresh button. Uh, to view view, update or delete a record, first you have to select it, or else it will show you error message saying please select a row. Now let's select this famous Harry Potter 2 row. Uh, it says there are two copies available. Okay, we can view a book, view all the details of that book, and update that book. Um, for instance, let's change this to science fiction. Okay, the system will say book updated successfully. When you go into the database and books, the Harry Potter 2 shows as science fiction. Um, you can delete the book very similar to deleting a patent. Okay, now let's go back. Now let's move on to the lens section of this software. In here, you have two tab pane called Lend Books and Return Books. In Lend Books, first we have to enter the patron ID. To assist that, there is a search feature built into the system. Let's say I enter P, and it will show the all record that's similar to the entered character. Uh, let's make it more specific. P002, and the P002 will come to the top of the combo box, and you can select it, and as a confirmation the patron name will be displayed next to the patron ID. Uh, Book ISBN is very similar to the patron ID. You can search it here by entering few characters and select it, and the book name will display here. The lend date automatically set to the current date of the system. You can change it here, but I am not going to do that. And the bottom period is also can be set here, and all the changes will be reflected on the due date. Let's say I increase the borrowing changes period to 21 days, and the due date now changes to the June, July to 2024. Uh, Now you can lend a book, and the system will pop up a message saying the book lended successfully. Okay, now go back. Now let's move on. Go into our database and change the link table. And you can see here there is a lend ISBN 135,467 patron P002. Lend date is June 11 and due date is July 2. Okay, this will change few areas in the system. Uh, for instance, let's go to the view books and check P00. Sorry. Uh, uh, and check the book we lent. It is 135467. View books 165467. We have total 5 copies, and now available copies are 4 because we lended one to that patron. Okay. In here, if I change the total number of copies, it will also reflected on the available number of copies. See, I have total. I have 3 copies of this book on the library, and 2 are available. Now, another thing is lending a book will add a record to the pat- patron view tab. Uh, we lend this book to the patron 002, right? Now let's go into the patron 002 and view his details. In Borrowed's book table, there is a book borrowed by him and it shows the borrowed date and due date as well as ISBN and book name. Uh, by using this logout button, we can log out from this librarian section. Now let's move on to the admin section. In admin section, in our library, we have two types of users with different privileges. First one is staff and the second one is admin. Uh, Only people with admin privileges can log in as an admin. For instance, let's move on to the librarian table, and we have a staff called Kasun, whose password is Kasun123, and his privileges are staff. Now let's try to log in as admin using that credentials. Kasun, Kasun123. The system will form error message saying user doesn't have admin privileges. That is true, right? He doesn't have admin privileges. Because of that, he can log into the system. Now let's see what will happen if we insert a user with the admin privileges. Let's take this record. Username is Chatura and the password is Chatura123. And he has admin privileges. Password. Now you can successfully log in. In here, very similar to the view books and view patrons, you can see a table with all the librarians in the staff. Um, in this case, we have three librarians. We can search them by their username, telephone, or privileges. Let's say I want to search users with admin privileges. All the users with admin privileges on the list table. You can refresh it here. You can add the record to the add the librarian by selecting add button, and let's add the librarian. Um, some got and NIC number is to be address 431 got telephone, and his mail. However, rate is 7 point, and he has privileges of admin. When entering a username, the system will display if the username is available or not according to the database table. Now let's try to use the now let's check the database and see we already have username Bava, Chatura, and Kasum. Let's try to insert this username as a Kasum. You can't enter. The system will say username already exists. Let's say Minecraft. Now the username is available, and you can also enter password and click add. The system will say the librarian added successfully. Now let's in this clear button we can clear all these records to their default values. Now let's go back and check whether it is on our database or not. As you can see, before going to the database, it is already updated on this table. Uh, Now we can view this record by selecting and clicking on view and update this record. For instance, let's change privileges of this user to stop. As you can see, the record changed and delete this record. The record is deleted successfully. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you again next time.